Undefeated team do you trust more here, bro?
The Eagles.
Really?
Yes. You showed those numbers. The Eagles have faced 3 Super Bowl contenders and beaten them, okay? And they still, have the undefeated record. The Bills have faced, outside of Baltimore, the Jets, Miami, and New Orleans. And they are not in the top 10 in any, scoring defense or total defense. So these last 2 weeks, they haven't looked great. Now, maybe they're playing down to the competition, whatever, but they haven't looked great. Roster-wise, also, Philadelphia's roster is, I believe, definitely better. And so I have more faith. I think Philadelphia's looked better. They've been tested more. They've passed more tests. And their roster is flat out better than Buffalo's. Yeah. And they got an easier path to the Super Bowl because they don't have to play the Chiefs.
And the thing you struggle with Buffalo is, you're right, their combined record of their opponents is 2-14. So that's not impressive, where the Eagles' combined record is 9-6-1. And also Buffalo's ability to stop the run is a big problem. I think they're 31st in the league right now. It's 164 yards per game.
Hello.
So again, you can keep Josh Allen off the field and the offense off the field if you run the ball and eat up the clock, which is going to be an issue that's going to be difficult for them to solve. The problem with the Eagles is Saquon Barkley's average
is half of last year, basically.
Yeah, it's 3.1 versus, what was he,
5.9.
Yeah, it's so as much as I say follow the formula, the formula is not the same as it was last year with Barkley's production being what it is. And it is a strange thing to look at what they've done and the fact that they're undefeated. And I do think the problems they're having with A.J. Brown, this is going to get worse the first time they lose. The first time they lose, it's going to go from a small leak to a real
I
issue.
think the A.J. Brown thing would have been at a 9 out of 10 intensity if Jordan Davis doesn't block the Rams kick. I think that game where they showed they could move the ball in the second half but didn't even try in the first half throwing the ball, if that had cost them that game, you know what I mean, then I think, but because they won in such exciting fashion. So I'm going to give, I guess, a tricky answer, but I think you'll like it. I trust week to week Philadelphia more because I think that I believe winning is a skill. I believe in championship pedigree, and I think that they have not played very well, and they've played really tough teams and won. You know what I mean? That is, if Philly fans who heckle me everywhere I go, that's a compliment, that you're not playing your best ball and you're winning. And I know this sounds weird because the Chiefs always beat the Bills in the playoffs, and the Chiefs had lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year. The team that scares me more is Buffalo. Because
against the Chiefs?
Yes, because I believe the only team in the league that if Mahomes plays his A-level game, their guy can match it is the Bills.
Okay, that's the end of the segment. Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes multiple times. Patrick Mahomes brought his A-level game even in 22, and Jalen Hurts was the better quarterback. The difference is the Philadelphia Eagles actually have the ability to make Patrick Mahomes not play his A-level game. And that's why I made that face when Bruce said, oh, well, the Eagles actually have an easier path to the Super Bowl because they don't have to face the Chiefs. It's like, the Eagles dominated and destroyed and humiliated Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The same team that the Buffalo Bills struggled to beat, okay? Like, what are we saying right now? Oh my God. Oh my God. Before I get too deep into it, this is why I'm asking you, Philadelphia Eagles fans, subscribe to this channel. Watch the full length of the video. It is the best possible way to support the growth of this channel. I am on a mission. We are on a mission. We are going to create the best sports talk community on TV, on YouTube, social media, wherever. That's what we're building. That's what we are doing. It is we, not me. So let's get after it. Let's absolutely get after it. Because these takes are just bonkers to me right now. Bonkers. Normally I would say this. Because I think Josh Allen is just an absolute monster. An absolute monster. An absolute monster. An absolute monster. And the way how I view the NFL world, when I think about how resilient a team is, how great, how special, I think of coaching and I think of quarterback play. I am very front forward about coach-quarterback duos, coach-quarterback duos, coach-quarterback duos. But especially when everything when it's just mayday, 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 everything is just a disaster. No play calls or, it's just like, you're just like, oh my God, our defense can't stop anyone. Our running back just got injured. Our wide receiver one's down, right? The O-line's a mess. It's just mayday, 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 mayday. Then it's just like, quarterback, what can you do? What can you do? And I think at the core of it, I look at a Josh Allen and think, in like the worst possible scenario of your team, injuries, coaching staff, whatever, you're like, it feels like it's a safe bet to say Josh Allen is going to put you in the best possible situation to win. He can bring out his best. Now enters Jalen Hurts. And this is what's really great. Because all this summer, all this winter, we heard that Jalen Hurts wasn't a really important part of this team. That it was the defense. That it was Saquon Barkley. That it was the O-line. That it was A.J. Brown, Devontae, Dallas Goedert super team. Now the defense hasn't been unstoppable. This O-line has certainly not been unstoppable. They just talked about Saquon Barkley himself getting half the production. Half the production. And A.J. Brown and Devontae are not feasting right now, and yet the Philadelphia Eagles are winning. That's weird. That's bizarre. I thought Jalen Hurts can only win when he has all day in the pocket. When Saquon Barkley's rushing for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. When A.J. Brown and Devontae are just catching lollipop throws. Makes no sense. Now enter the fact that we're now looking at the team. Because I mapped out like this Mayday, oh no, crazy scenario. Because you just never know what could happen in a game, right? Especially if you're like, it's a Super Bowl. I don't know. You hope everyone's healthy. You hope everything's good. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. You're just kind of like, all right, there's a few players I really trust will be able to get it. Jalen Hurts has been in a Mayday situation. Jalen Hurts was in a situation where it's like, I got no run game. My defense is giving up a whole bunch of points. And he had one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time. And then when he gets even the slightest bit of support from his team, like a defensive performance, he's like, oh, perfect. I just need a little help, guys. I can do the rest. I just need like something here. Just literally don't drop the ball. I'll hit AJ. I'll hit Devontae. I'll hit Dallas. I'll hit our wide receiver 3. Saquon Barkley can't really get things going. No worries. I got it. I'll be the leading rusher. I'll set the Super Bowl record for the most rushing yards, breaking checks, notes, my own record. No problem. I got it. Oh, you need a 2-point conversion to tie the game? Oh, I got that too. I'll just muscle my way in there after leading us to a touchdown. Down 8 in the Super Bowl. If Jalen Hurts didn't have those moments, then it would be so much easier for me to say, yeah, the Buffalo Bills. I trust the Buffalo Bills. Because again, I think Josh Allen is an absolute monster. But some of the things that I absolutely love about Josh Allen and the things that I believe that makes Josh Allen like, hey, at the end of the day, if I don't know, if there is a confusion around the situation, at least I have confidence that Josh Allen can shoulder a massive amount of weight for his team. And I'm like, well, I've seen Jalen Hurts do that too, and I've seen Jalen Hurts do it in the Super Bowl. Do I think Jalen Hurts can reliably do that week after week after week after week? No. In a way that I think Josh Allen can, just by the sheer nature that he's just a bigger, stronger guy. It's the same thing that what we see with Steph Curry and a LeBron James. Steph Curry's peak, his true offensive peak for Steph Curry, the highest you can get, most likely more unstoppable than a LeBron James. I mean, just by virtue of his ability to spread the court, and his three-point shooting is just like, right, it's literally redefined and changed how basketball is played. But in terms of you need to get behind one player for an entire season, for an entire series, you'd be crazy not to pick LeBron. You'd be crazy not to pick like a Shaquille O'Neal. So like that's just the limitation that a Jalen Hurts can have. But if we're now they're kind of mapping it out like who you gotta face, right? And they're talking about Super Bowl, playoffs, whatever it is. You're just like, you cannot knock Jalen Hurts, who's had ice in his veins, rise to the occasion, get after it. Combined now with a better team, better offensive pieces, better defense, etc., etc., etc. The biggest question mark is Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator. I believe in Fangio. I believe in Sirianni getting this team ready. I don't know how a Kevin Patullo would call a Super Bowl. It was my same concern with Kellen Moore going into the Super Bowl. And even Fangio at that matter. I was like, listen, the Kansas City Chiefs have the coaching advantage. I was like, this is just another game for Andy Reid and Spags. They've been here a million times. This is the biggest moment in Sirianni's career. This is the biggest moment in Fangio's career. This is the biggest moment for Kellen Moore's career. This is the biggest moment in their entire football life. It's just another moment for a Spags or Andy Reid. And it's like, okay. I think I said Spags earlier. I might have said Fangio when I was comparing it with Andy Reid, but I obviously meant defensive coordinator, Kansas City Chiefs, Spags. I don't know if I got the names mixed up in that rant. And so now that is the biggest liability that you have with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Because it's like, if the Eagles get to the Super Bowl again, even just any playoff game, the wild card round, divisional round, whatever, it will be the biggest moment for Kevin Patullo. The biggest moment for him. Fangio's been there. Nick Sirianni's been there. Jalen Hurts has been there. A.J. Brown's been there. Devontae's been there. Saquon Barkley's been there. So it's different. And now with Brady for the offensive coordinator for the Bills and Sean McDermott, you're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not scared of them by any stretch of the imagination. We've seen Sean McDermott's defenses against the Kansas City Chiefs. Have they ever put on a show like Fangio and the Philadelphia Eagles did? Never. Not once. Not once. Not once. Over these years, who's gotten his team more prepared to play in the biggest moments? Sirianni or McVay? Sirianni or Shanahan? Sirianni or Kevin O'Connell? Sirianni. These are all things that we've seen and that you can't just take away from them. You can't take that away from them. So, yeah, that's why this conversation is actually a lot more nuanced. And if there wasn't a big game factor for Jalen Hurts that we've seen in multiple Super Bowl runs, in literal multiple Super Bowls, then you could lean on like Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, because you could say, yeah, Josh Allen is that dude, and he is that dude. But like in the playoffs, in the biggest moments, so is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts played better against the Kansas City Chiefs in both Super Bowls than Josh Allen has in any outside of the what's it called? The 13-second game, I'd say. That was a pretty spectacular game by Josh Allen. And it's not that Josh Allen has played bad. I've made the argument that Josh Allen has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in those games. Played awesome in 23. There was just some of the drop passes, but 24, again, played well, but just didn't look as comfortable or as resilient as I saw Jalen Hurts. Which is weird. It is interesting. And it's not like I think Kellen Moore has magic. And it's not like Jalen Hurts, again, is able to just sit back and just be like, well, it's easy. I just got to do a nice little 3-yard pass to Saquon Barkley, and he's going to rip off a 25-yard run like the 49ers do with like a Christian McCaffrey or something. It's, like Jalen Hurts is there's a reason why he was the MVP in 24 and was clearly going to be the MVP in 22. It's because he is the engine of that, a massive engine of that. So we've seen Jalen Hurts play better against Kansas City Chiefs than we've seen Joe Burrow, than we've seen Josh Allen, than we've seen Lamar Jackson, than we've seen any of these quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, etc., etc., etc. And so now when you also now combine the quality of the team and even the coaching staff, you're like, all right. So it's an interesting one. Because I'm going to turn this also into a separate video specifically about the Buffalo Bills and look at it through the Buffalo Bills lens and look at it through the lens of a Josh Allen lens. Because it is interesting. It is something to wrestle with. Because if you said you got one game to win, who do you want to be your quarterback? It's like, you'd be crazy to not say like, well, how can I reject Josh Allen in this moment? How can I not even, how can I not even consider a Josh Allen, right? And I think that's completely valid. And I know a lot of people say, well, if Josh Allen was on the Philadelphia Eagles, they'd be, even more unstoppable. And, we always kind of go in circles and play that game. And it is just interesting that really, how do I want to phrase this? This idea that what Nick said about when Patrick Mahomes is playing at his best, there's only one quarterback that can match him, and that's Josh Allen. It just hasn't even remotely been true. It's just not. And really, the better question is when Patrick Mahomes is at his best, which team do you believe can match that? Which team do you think can try to inhibit Patrick Mahomes? Which offense can keep up, can make the big plays? And that has consistently been proven to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Not the Cincinnati Bengals, not the Baltimore Ravens, and not the Buffalo Bills. Like, that's the question. It's not reducing it down to just quarterback play. The Buffalo Bills have lost against the Kansas City Chiefs, not because Josh Allen couldn't match Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills couldn't match the Kansas City Chiefs. The Philadelphia Eagles, even when they lost in the Super Bowl, they matched and played better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And Jalen Hurts played better than Patrick Mahomes. They ended up losing the game. Happens. But then in the rematch in 2024, it obviously wasn't even remotely close. It wasn't even close. Yet that Chiefs team beat the Ravens, beat the Bengals, beat the Bills. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you trust more, the Eagles or the Buffalo Bills? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.